It was 2001. I was coming in running the 4.340, cannon for arm, and in a system that I felt like I could thrive in. John Elway ran the system that I ran, Dan Reeves. And so I knew if I combine my abilities, my running abilities with that system, that offense, and I could become a heck of a player. Once I believed that in 2002, and we was able to go to Green Bay and win and beat them in Lambeau for the first time in history, it was because I brought everything together. And, you know, I can't do that without having the right coaching around me, without having the right system in place. A coach who understood what I could do inside the pocket and outside the pocket. And we always came into the game with at least 4 or 5 run plays, design runs, not quarterback draws, design runs in 2001, 2002. And so my coach, Dan Reeves, the great Dan Reeves, he was ahead of the curve back then. Rest in peace, Dan Reeves. Andy was ahead of the curve in 1999 when they drafted Don, when he brought in Donovan. And so we just continue to have, try to make it work at the position, man. And I just played true to my game and didn't change.
You played in the city of brotherly love. You understand the passion that resonates in that city. Let's talk about your relationship, not only with the Eagles, but the city of Philadelphia and Andy Reid, the former coach of 14 years. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I was always envious of Donovan for the right reasons. It's because he had Andy and when we first came into the league. And I used to watch a lot of film on them and what they was doing. And like, even though I loved that offense, it was like, man, I wish I could do that. I know I could execute that the same way Donovan is doing it. And I always wanted to meet Andy. I always wanted to play for him. And God blessed me with that opportunity. And once I got to know Andy, once I met him, I knew it was going to be a great relationship. Even if I didn't spend a lot of time there, I was on a 1-year deal. And the city embraced me, Andy embraced me. They brought me back on the option. And I just had the chance to spend more time with Andy on a day-to-day basis and really get to know him, his football mind, know him personally and vice versa. And we kind of created something special in like 2 years. I wish it could have been a longer tenure, but God had greater things in store for him to move on to Kansas City and accomplish what he set out to accomplish, and that's winning the Super Bowl.
How about your relationship with Jalen?
One more question. Excuse me. Give me your thoughts on Sunday's game. I know you're a little bit biased with the Eagles. Give me your thoughts on the matchup.
I'm biased. I'm biased with the Eagles. I'm biased with Kansas City. I'm just putting it out there.
Who do you like and why?
I like both teams. I like Kansas City because they're explosive and they got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. I like the Philadelphia Eagles because they're explosive on offense and got Jalen at quarterback. And I like both teams' defenses. And if anything, this game will come down to who make the least amount of mistakes. I've had some times with a lot of ups and downs. Not a lot of ups and downs. A tremendous amount of ups and maybe 2 or 3 downs, but. Sometimes when I fail pretty hard, and sometimes when you fall, man, you fall down on your knees and you got to pray, and you got to cry, and you got to get it all out of your system, and you got to find a new belief, and some things got to change, and you got to let some things go, and maybe change your circle, and that's called evolving, that's called maturing, and so I took great pride in that. And, once I started to have kids, it was all about mentorship in the household as well. And my daughter used to always tell me I act like the house was a huddle, and she used to get on me about that. But the leadership role is something that I embrace. So yeah, faith played a great part in that.
Mike, how would you describe your relationship with Jalen? He talks about you telling him the advice of be you, just be yourself. Do you remember saying that to him?
Yeah, I told Jalen at the beginning of the season to just be himself and just play his game and don't waver, don't buy into what's being said or what people might be saying on TV or how they might view you as a quarterback. How you grow in this game is predicated on how much time you put into it. And, I told him to lean on Kelsey. My last final words was lean on your center who's a veteran in the game, has a Super Bowl championship already, has winning pedigree, and going to help you get to where you need to go. And it's always great when you're a young guy, you can lean on that veteran, especially a 10, 11-year veteran like Kelsey, who can put you in that position, help you watch film with him. He going to help you understand the game and see it for what it really is. And it's a dynamic relationship.
That triple threat label, did you ever heard him say that? That triple threat, the label that he kind of floated this year, have you ever heard that before?
Triple threat? What was it?
It's arms, legs, and mind.
Arms, legs, and mind, yeah. I mean, that's the only way any quarterback can make it. And so, that's his thing. I'm going to stick with the dual threat.
Michael. The NFL is a passing league, obviously, but there are more and more receivers involved in the rushing game. So do you see an evolution here with the game, like for the future years?
Yeah, well, when you get guys like Kadarius Toney and you get guys like Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel lining up in the backfield, the game is changing. And I said it a second ago. Offenses are starting to change. Coaches are starting to change. They're looking at players, talented receivers who have tremendous running ability, put them in the backfield and put them in space. Give them a swing route and it almost turns into a punt return. So it's all about making the defense think, making them react, and making it tough on them.
When you look at a guy like Justin Fields in Chicago, how do you break down this past season for him, and what do you think he needs to grow to get better?
Yeah, I thought it was a great season for Justin. To go out and rush for 1,000 yards, that's hard to do. You know that, Jared. It's hard to do, man. And one, it says that, the offense is kind of predicated to you, and two, that your offensive line might not have been worth a damn. And so, you look at that as a positive, but the coaches have to look at it and say to themselves, we got to clean this up. And so, this being his second year in the same system, I think we'll see a much better passer out of Justin, because he has it in him. We've seen what he did at Ohio State. That's all he did. We didn't know he could run the way he ran now. And so now he's running the football, and we didn't see that at Ohio State. All we seen was the passing game. Now, intertwine the two. Maybe the coach go back and watch some of the Ohio State film, and it's time to get creative.
When you were watching him, did you look at him and be like, man, it kind of looked like me just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when guys break out and get 30, 40-yard runs, it always makes me think about what I used to do and how I used to do it. I like it because they're doing it now in a more structured and controlled environment. It just seems like, I think about my runs and it seemed like it was just total chaos. Like somebody missed a block or something happened and I had to go into scramble mode. Now, these guys get a little RPO game going. They might just break out on the quarterback draw or something. It just kind of happens naturally. But I don't know how we did what we did. I did what I did at times, and when I think about rushing for 1,000 yards, this is an incredible milestone.
What is the significance for these guys having two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, not just for what it means for the past, but for the future? Because Jalen talked about watching you and learning about what kind of impact does that have for the future.
Well, I mean, I think the game just continues to evolve, man, and I don't want to make that the topic of discussion for the week because.
But it is history.
But it's history. It's history, and it's Black History Month, so let's dive into it. It's really special and perfect timing. I just think the evolution of the position, we worked hard to get to where we at. I know Jalen and Patrick work extremely hard with their coaches, but look at the coaches. The coaches, they believed in these guys. They had to pick 3 quarterbacks. They had to pick through a whole draft, and that's who they chose. The general manager, Brent Vick, Howie Roseman, the owners, Jeffrey Lloyd, and I'm drawing a blank, but Clark Hunt. Shout out to Clark. But yeah, those guys did a tremendous job, man, and that's what the most successful teams are going to be able to look at talent, evaluate it, say I like this guy over this guy, for whatever reasons. And this is what you get. You get 2 guys in the Super Bowl, and you got to be proud of that.